Good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone joining the second webinar of the fourth edition of National Startup Awards on fostering entrepreneurship, unleashing the power of young India. I am Prableen Kaur, manager at Startup India and your host for today's session. And I'm thrilled to be here with you all. Entrepreneurship today is a key driver of innovation and economic transformation in the country. With this view in mind, Startup India has launched the fourth edition of National Startup Awards to recognize and reward outstanding startups that have demonstrated exceptional capabilities to build innovative, scalable, and impactful business solutions. This year, we have awards spanning over 20 categories like women led innovation, impact in rural areas, social impact in healthcare, education, livelihood, and many more. The winners will receive a cash prize of INR 10 lakhs across each category, and the winners and finalists will receive exclusive handholding support in the form of government connects, investor connects, market access, etc. Before we start with the fantastic lineup of industry experts and notable startups that we have amongst us today, we would be playing the walkthrough video of the application form for the National Startup Awards for all startups watching. I am excited to introduce Dr. Garima Sawhney, the co-founder of Pristyn and a practicing senior gynecologist with an experience of over 15 years. She has previously worked with Max Healthcare and CK Birla Hospital. She is an industry leader who has been an early adopter of the latest technological advancements in laser and minimally invasive treatment procedures. She has performed over 10,000 surgeries and is now a successful entrepreneur and the co founder of Pristyn which is India's leading healthcare unicorn. Dr. Garima, to start with, once hailed as the youngest health tech unicorn, Pristyn is simplifying the surgery experience and managing end-to-end patient experience with technology. How do you do it so seamlessly? And what would you say is your key driving force to become an entrepreneur?
Hi, Prableen, and hi to everyone over here on this platform. It's great to have you guys listen to me today. So, answering to your question, Prableen, I would say starting this particular venture, Pristyn Care, was something which was not a easy decision, right? But what I was very clear about was the real problem that was around the patient's, you can say, patient journey in the hospital. So I remember those days when I was actually practicing as a doctor, and when I was meeting a lot of patients, I was understanding their issues, right? And those small things, like which people miss out. So those were the gaps which we identified, and we thought that these are something like we have to solve for the patient, right? So we thought of starting Pristyn Care so that we can bring in seamless surgical journey for a patient who has to undergo a surgery. And doing that, I would say that was not easy. The first initial problem was to get aligned with the people who understand, who are there, who understand what actually the patient needs, and transfer what knowledge you have into them. So building a team was something I can say that was something which we did beautifully, which helped us bring seamless journey for our patient. The next thing was to scale it up. It's easy to reach from 0 to 10, 10 to 100, but when you have to actually scale it to thousands, right, it's not an easy journey. You need support of technology, correct? So in Pristyn, what we have seen, we have built a lot of technologies, not just for the internal systems, means internal coordination, even for our patients and our hospital partners. So I would say technology has played a major role in solving a seamless journey for our patients. So whatever like our patient needs, like when they call up, they have to undergo a surgery, getting their insurance cleared, going to a hospital, right? Having seamless hospital stay, right? Going through a smooth surgery, doctors approach, right? Whenever they need a doctor, doctors are available, right? Their follow-ups, their food, everything is so much on technology dependent, and we have built a lot of systems around it. So I think one, definitely the people, and second, would say the technology, the internal and the systems for our patients have helped us bring in the seamless journey for our patients.
Great. So as you mentioned that every startup, in order to scale from 1 to 100, would need technology. So funding is one of the other elements that a startup would need in order to scale and grow. So this other question that I think of is, do you think that we are going through a funding winter? And if yes, because we've heard so much about it in the past year, and if yes, how do you think the Indian startups would survive from this? And today, as you'd be aware, we are very close to touching 1 lakh DPIIT recognized startups in India. And in your viewpoint, what do these startups need the most? Is it just money, or is there something else that is also needed for them to survive and to become more sustainable and to be able to contribute to the vision of India at 2047? Uh, Over to you.
Yeah. See, startup, this funding winter, we have been listening to this term since last 1 year, and would say that yes, the overall funding size might have gone down, but it is not something it has stopped. And the reason for that is very clear, that the startups which have got a great business model, a great problem solving, and the economics are something wherein profitability is coming in. I don't think funding winter exists for any one of them. So those people who are like thinking of starting up any kind of a startup, and they have a great business model in front of them, and they really believe that they can actually solve a great problem, I would say that they don't need to be worried about this funding winter. For the existing startup, what I can say is, if they are actually in this list of 1 lakh startups, right, I would say they need to be very clear on their vision. They need to show economics very positively, and the profitability for them, I think, will be the key decision maker for their growth, for their upcoming vision to the country.
Also, how do you think that we can ensure and motivate the youth in the country to take up entrepreneurship more actively, and any parting advice that you would have for them?
See, means I don't come from a means I was a doctor, right, practicing it. So what I can say is that I was an individual who used to believe or feel that I need to do something of my own. So what I personally feel is that there is kind of a young entrepreneur in every individual. Means everyone wants to do something of their own, right? They have somewhat their own ideas, right, which they want to actually work on, wherein they feel that yes, this is something which will bring in change. So what I feel is, even the young students now, we see they talk about a lot of business. They have so much of sense on like how a business is done. So I would say that already the youth is so excited, and they are so motivated for doing such things. But what is required for becoming an entrepreneur is uh, a kind of a consistent job, right? You need to be consistent, you need to be hardworking, you need to be passionate, and you should have a real business idea to solve, right? So I think if all these things are there in place, if for any young person, I don't think that there is anything which will stop them from becoming a big entrepreneur, right? And at the end, what I can say is that there are different flagship programs which the government of India has provided, like National Startup Awards. I think this is going to be a great platform and opportunity for them to be recognized not just nationally but also internationally. So I would say for India, like the vision for India 2047 is for these young entrepreneurs who can actually bring in a lot of changes in different industries for the country.
Thank you so much, Garima. I think this session has been really insightful, and I'm sure the startups that have joined us today have benefited from this interaction and are able to take away some key learnings.
Yes,
Um,
thank you. Thanks, Praveen.
Thank you so much, Garima. Thank you. It is my pleasure to announce that we have with us today visionary entrepreneurs who've led their startups to win the National Startup Awards in the previous years. We have with us Rashid K, who's the co-founder and director at Genrobotics Innovations. He's a purpose-driven, young, and inspiring innovator who has spent the last 7 years as an entrepreneur and is the face behind many technological innovations. His passion in social work and technology has inspired him to start his first enterprise, Genrobotics, that specializes in design and development of robotic solutions to address the most pressing social issues. They have developed the world's first manhole cleaning robo called Bandicoot, with a vision to eradicate manual scavenging and to benefit millions of manual scavengers around the world. He has also been awarded with prestigious awards like the Forbes 30 Under 30 of 2023 and awarded with Government of India's Swachhata Startup Challenge Award and National Startup Award. And also joining with us today is Mr. Jayesh Tope, who's the co-founder and managing director at Revamp Moto. He has worked at Mahindra and Mahindra in the past and is also the ex-founder of Vegeto Farms prior to Revamp Moto. Jayesh has always dreamt of developing a unique product that he could pitch as a startup idea. His entrepreneurial journey began in his engineering days, where he built two startups and spent most of his time reading and watching startup success stories. He is a people's person and constantly thrives on analyzing and solving new problem statements in the ecosystem. He's also been awarded with prestigious awards like the National Startup Awards 2022, and his startup pitch was one amongst the top four in Shark Tank season one. So my first question is for Mr. Jayesh. Uh, so Jayesh, what are your views about finding the perfect market fit in the EV segment, and does it lie in between the healthy mix of having both B2B and B2C clients, or should one concentrate on only one of these? And we would also want to know about your experience, particularly from the point of view of a country like India.
Got it, got it. Thank you so much, Prableen, and thank you, Startup India team, for giving us this opportunity. So basically, I guess in the introduction, the intro of Revamp Moto is not covered to just talk about. So Revamp Moto is building India's first transformable EV. In Indian words or Bharat ke शब्द में कहा जाए तो it is a चलती फिरती दुकान concept on two wheelers. That is what we are trying to do. And through this product, we are trying to solve the problem of bottom of pyramid customers by empowering them. Now, coming back to the question that where to actually focus on, whether the B2B or B2C market fit. So this is the question that arose almost 2.5 years when we started Revamp Moto in the COVID era, when we got to know there are like 700 and odd EV manufacturers in India, so-called, but majority of them being an assemblers and not bringing a ground-up approach on the product side. So we at Revamp Moto, we felt that is if we see the adaptability of EVs, majorly it will be from the B2B side, considering the unit economics and the affordability that goes to the B2B logistics. That is the first point where the adoption will be there from the market and then going to the B2C market. For sure, government has been pushing through the FIM2 subsidies to the B2C and B2B market both. But if we see as Revamp Moto, we got a very sweet spot and a niche market where we make custom tailor-made vehicles to the B2B guys and bottom of pyramid customers. So that is the basic unique concept of Revamp Moto, that it's a vehicle within just 30 seconds. You can change the entire look and feel of the bike, and it can be used for multiple different use cases, right from the delivering pizzas to delivering a meat on leashes or anything like that. So again, coming to the point that if we consider current scenario where a company should focus on, I will be saying first it should be B2B, considering the adaptability, and even government is pushing all the fleets of Zomato, Swiggy, or Leashes, or all the e-commerce giants to actually convert it into electric. So that is where the huge potential lies in. Even if you ask about Revamp Moto, our first consideration is B2B, and then eventually entering into the B2C market to bring in visibility. So yeah, considering the Indian scenario, it is good to start with B2B. And for a startup, considering the marketing expense and the CAC, B2B is a good startup and a kickoff. And then we can go into the B2C mass mobility market.
Thanks, Mr. Jayesh. Um, my next question is for Mr. Rashid. What motivated you to take up a social cause as the focus of your tech venture, and how can we, as the government's nodal agency for startups, motivate the youth to direct their technical prowess into building socially responsible businesses?
Thanks, Pebble. So for the wonderful intro and sharing the good questions also. So especially to those who are hearing also the startups, I would like to give a small intro about how Genrobotics started, especially on the social tech innovation, and how the government is supporting, especially if it is coming to the a social cause problem, and also likewise if it is a hardware related. So basically, all this innovation is started with a news article where it comes in about a manual scavenging accident. So actually, where everyone knows in India, it is not only in India, across the world, manual scavenging is the biggest issue where everyone is facing. And in India itself, there is around 4 to 5 million manual scavengers are there. So here we found that this is a serious issue that we need to solve, and then we as a group of engineers we decided to solve this issue using the technology, and we created the world's first robot for cleaning manholes without any human intervention. So when we are developing, there will be a lot of challenges, especially if it is come to the funding, because of as of a startup, and if it's in a young entrepreneurs. So definitely everyone will be concerned, like how we will get the funding support and how to work on that part. So definitely at that pace, the government of India and the state governments also play a bigger role, especially supporting and encouraging the startups to do the trial and error methods, and with the fund using the idea grant, innovation grant. So these are the some of the grants that can be accessed by the startups. And likewise, once we start creating the robot, so definitely we can use the same robot, I mean robot or product, whatever it is, I mean, since it has come to a robot, I'm saying in that way. So we can use that robot in the real scenario of the government sector itself. So actually we trialed our first robot in Kerala in a medical college, where that is one of the biggest issue they are facing to clean their sewage network. So there we used our robot, and the users, the client also felt this is the perfect fit, and that is the solution what they want. And from there itself, we started getting the orders from the clients, and then it go ahead. So in the same way, because the government have a scheme to give the direct orders on some, up to some lakhs, there's an limit also that they can give the direct orders. And meanwhile, using the innovation grants and idea grants, that will help the youth, or that will support the people to create more robots or to do more trials also, because no product will come perfect in a single creation or single designing. A lot of iteration, designing, and everything is required in that journey. So here also we have been using that model. And coming to the social innovation, what makes us more into the innovation? So actually, when we identify the problem of manual scavenging, uh, we got a lot of accident news. We got a lot of terrific news, which pushed us to create the robotic solution. And likewise, we have been checking one more thing also. The matter is like, in India, the 66 percentage of the population is youth only. So even we were thinking that if this youth can be turned to a socio entrepreneur, we can solve all our problems in India. And we are just solving one of the problem only, and there are multiple problems that are standing ahead. And even, as I mentioned, we just started with a newspaper report. Likewise, in and around of everyone, there's a lot of issues are staying there. So which we can easily identify, and we can solve that. And because there's a lot of schemes and advantage, because of the startup India also, that's showing, and a lot of such facilities that we can take the advantage right now.
Thanks, Mr. Rashid. This brings me to our next question that we have here. As a startup, do you both think that seeking investment is only about securing maximum funding, or do you think that there's more to it in terms of identifying investors who can offer more than just money? Uh,
um, Maybe I'll just little more add on this.
you can go
So
first. Yes.
yeah, so the thing is like, especially coming to the investment also, it is definitely required, especially if it's in a startup journey. And since here my colleague, the friend who is here from the motor sector also, he also knowing that if it's going to come to an industry development, or especially on the hardware, the funding requirement is quite high. So even right now also, even just from the beginning of the designing, it will start taking. So the requirement of investment is obviously there, but we can reduce the involvement of selling our stake to investors, because here we can utilize, especially the first, as I said, idea grant we can utilize first, and the next one is like innovation grant, again we can utilize. And the third part what we can do is like, there is some debt model funding is there, especially that is also again with the collaboration of government. And now in the startup India also, again in GEM, there is another provision, GEM Sahai, that is again against the purchase order we will get the fund. So first, if we able to develop the solution or develop that product, then with respect to the purchase order, we can get the investment right now, because there are schemes which is available. We don't need to put any collateral or security, because that is nothing required. Only what here we require is like the passion and the dedication of the entrepreneurs. So that will give the opening to many funding opportunities right now. So here, because everyone is concerned, like a typical thinking is that investment is like a mandatory thing to run a company. So it is nothing like that. We can take the investment on requirement basis, but likewise we should utilize the available funds like these grants and award funds and the CSR funds, which all things first we need to utilize. And then if it's all these are not sufficient, then I think we can go for the investment model. Now I would like to pass the chance. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Rashid has already covered regarding how we can utilize the funds and when and where to go in terms of funding. What I would like to explain is to the second point of Prableen that she has told is basically where we see that some people are just in running behind the funds, right? But it's not like that. When we see that co-founders are there, but the relation between the co-founder and investor is also something different. We call it as an husband-wife relationship in the startup ecosystem. So when you are selecting your investors, it's also very, very important. That has been a case with Revamp Moto. So what happened is when we came on Shark Tank India season 1 on camera, we just got 2 sharks onboarded. That was Anupam and Aman. But later on, we also got a chance to onboard Ashneer and Piyush Bansal. Now all the 4 sharks bring in very good strategic, what I can say, collaborations from each of their own field, right? Aman comes from the marketing side, Anupam comes with the huge connections, Ashneer comes with the finance side, Piyush comes from the technology side. So this actually helps us in going ahead in each and every perspective. Similarly, we have almost 18 to 19 people on cap table. When we selected, it's like all of this investors play some vital role in Revamp Moto. So when we have our board meetings or EGMs, the feedback and the suggestions that we get from these investors is so vital that it actually sees on lakhs and crores of rupees to actually when a new entrepreneur makes a mistake, this investors actually shows in and brings in value, where it's a very, very vital role, and not just money is very important. So I would like to suggest to all the fellow entrepreneurs that I understand the hustle for funding round, because yeah, funds are necessary to go ahead, but getting strategic investor is more beneficial than just getting an investor who will bring in money. And that's how major unicorns have also been flourished. So yeah, that is the second point, that whenever you are going for the funding round, look whether the portfolio or the project thesis or the investment thesis of that particular angel investor or the VC fund or angel investment fund is in line with what are you trying to build. So that is really very, very important, and it has actually helped the Revamp Moto in accelerating our pace.
It was great hearing from the both of you on this, and also to add that Startup India has also come up with the Investor Connect portal very recently, wherein there's an AI matchmaking mechanism for the investors and startups to connect, and the startups have very recently started making use of the portal. So we're sure that we'll be able to see a few success stories from there as well in some time. Um, my next question would be for both of you again. Considering that Mr. Mr. Rashid had launched Bandicoot, I was thinking, what would drive your choice for the next product to work upon? And do you think about having a niche in the market, or would you want to have multiple types of products? What is the thought process that goes behind coming up with such proposition?
Yeah. So basically, we started with the exoskeleton basically, and now we have developed the robot which is for the cleaning sewage networks. So what actually happening is like this is a mindset of the entrepreneurs that first what we require is like we need to be flexible to take up the problem cases, and we need to understand the market requirements also, and likewise obviously the social requirement also, how much it is well required. Because initially when we start doing in 2015 when we are doing the research on the exoskeleton, we were doing a lot of stuff especially on the industrial part and defense, for supporting the defense. But when we saw the news of these manual scavenging accidents, we felt that the issue of manual scavenging is more adverse, or it is very dangerous than any other thing, and that is the need of hour or need of second also, we can say, that is required. So that's motivated us to create that robotic solution. And so last 5 years we have implemented in 18 states of India, and more than 300 robots already working in different states, and which saved thousands of sanitation workers from entering into this manual scavenging, and saving them from this lot of disease and even fatal diseases and deaths as well. So that is an advantage, or that is the impact that is created with a technology, that we took a decision that we will solve that problem right now in 2015. That call has created on that time. Now this is right now advanced a lot of thing, and right now we have a big team that is taking care. More than 300 employees are working in our family, that is in each and every state. They are working for the implementation and for serving the people, especially making a change for the sanitation workers to robot operators. So it is our like in a dream to change the life of the sanitation workers and bringing a dignity for their life. So that has already going on right now. And when the team also grown a lot, then we are seeing a lot of other issues as well, a lot of other problems. So now we've identified one other issue is like on the healthcare. So there we call it as a paraplegic condition. So where the people are not able to walk because of the accident or stroke or maybe spinal cord injury. So what we done is like we created now last year we created a robotic solution which is called a Gator, that is specifically for the rehabilitation of these paraplegic patients, which will make these patients to walk back faster. So as you ask the question, so it is not about like an initial problem or a single product or a single solution. It will be and it should be always creating multiple solutions and multiple products. That's how we can utilize basically our brain or our the complete utilization of our technological caliber, and especially using our entire team to make a big impact in the society as well as on the economy side also. Because by the implementation or by the development of different technology, it will increase and widens the economy impact as well. So I believe that all the entrepreneurs should focus, start with one product, and likewise once that has solved and once that is reached an optimum level, then we need to create the other robot or solutions. But likewise it is in a mandatory that the existing product, a big team should be working on iterating it and creating a new models, adding more features. So that have to be there every time. Yeah.
Definitely. Jayesh, would you like to add anything to it?
Yeah. So I will talk in terms of ambitious vision of a startup that might have. So when someone asks me what is the mission and vision statement of Revamp Moto, so actually again quite in line with what Rashid's vision is. So we are also on a mission to impact a million lives by 2027, because what's the problem statement we are solving is a chalti firti dukan concept where people try to do zugards on their two wheelers to earn livelihood from their particular end, that is daily uses on two wheeler. Now what happens is, as a company, when we start this, we have a particular vision statement in mind. But if I talk about Indian two wheeler market, almost 2 crore, that is 20 million of two wheelers are being sold in India. That is the huge potential of the two wheeler market in India, and that is just one segment again in the automobile industry. Two wheeler is there, three wheeler is there, and the four wheeler is there. Now it is about how ambitious a startup is. Basis that it's decided that when you come into multiple products and different product segments in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. So if you ask me where the startup should look at, so when we have a chat with our stakeholders of Revamp Moto, right, we look at a long-term plan as well. So not look after just 6 months or 12 months plan, but we look at what are we going to do 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. will Revamp Moto be on just be in the EV two-wheeler segment, or will it be into the energy segment as well, or will it get into some kind of utility sector which will actually solve the problem of this bottom-up pyramid customers? Now over here, if let's say Revamp Moto wants to become the next Tesla of the world, right? The plans should be very ambitious with multiple products in line for next 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. But sometimes the startup founders do lack in it, that we think for just 6 months or 12 months of plan, but lack in the next 3 years or 5 years bigger vision. So when you are starting a startup, if I want to give a suggestion to all the startup founders, we should always think about the big vision as well. Where are we looking at this company in 5 years, 10 years down the line? Basis that I will say backpolate it to the current scenario. Yes, after 5 years, 10 years, I want my company at this particular level. I will start out from this small product, bring it into the market, give it to the customers, taste it, then bring in the next iteration, okay, test it, and then go into the three-wheeler category, then going into the four-wheeler category. So that is how we are also. So we three co-founders of Revamp are ambitious on our plans, and I would request the other startup co-founders to be as well. That the market is big. It's all about what all you tap, and how much big vision statements you have.
Um, Thank you, both of you. So, being a National Startup Awards winner, both of you now serve as an inspirational figure for many startups, and of course, most of our viewers also right now. So, we would like to understand from you on how things have changed for your startup post winning the awards, and how do you think this platform has helped the startup efforts in general, and how has it helped your business in particular?
Great. So I would like to go ahead first. So it has been just 2 to 3 months. We have been declared as and awarded as a National Startup Award winner for 2022 and transport category in the mobility segment, wherein it has so one life changing moment was Shark Tank for us as Revamp Moto, and second is the National Startups Award. So these two are like one of the life changing moments for Revamp as a company. If I want to give you ground reality, what all things have changed for Revamp. So we actually got a chance to pitch our idea in front of investors in Consulate General of India in Dubai, where almost 100 to 120 VCs participated, and we were overwhelmed by the response of the investors that Revamp Moto got. So almost from 120, we got investment interest from 40 to 50 of the investors, and that has closed our current round of funding. That is the very immediate impact that National Startup Award has brought in. Apart from that, we have, so as you rightly said, so Government of India has published the Mark platform, and we are in touch with very good mentors in the technology and business background both. So we have a weekly sessions with them where we actually give an update, and even they have feedback sessions, and they come from very good technology background. So those are like the key experts of their particular segment. That has been the second. Third has been so Government of India has actually, so Invest India and Startup India team, I will actually appreciate their efforts to handhold the startups who were there, who were the winner of National Startups Award. So, Babrin, even thanks to you. Yeah, I was there in Bangalore and I was traveling back from Bangalore to Mumbai. But you kept on keep getting the follow-ups that yeah, you have to do this and that. So even on the mark, we were facing issues, but they were following up rather than we following up. So that is really appreciable that the team, that Startup India and Invest India team, are taking a lot of efforts to do the handholding for the startups. Just like one of them is Revamp Moto. So it has helped in multiple forms, and I guess it's a very long journey. Again, it just has been 3 months, but we have been impacted a lot by this second life-changing moment. And thanks to again Startup India and Invest India team. And I will on this platform, I'd like to urge all the startup who are there listening to us that do participate in National Startups Award. It also brings in certain type of credibility to what you are trying to solve. So just like I said, there are two validation points. One of Shark Tank, when people on national television show us, and then the four sharks validated our idea. Similarly, when Government of India validates your idea that hey, yes, this startup is actually trying to solve a very good problem statement in India, then the investors or your customers also believe in you that yes, these guys are something credible and they are trying to do something good. So I would like to urge all the startup founders to actually participate in the National Startups Award. For sure, it's a tedious task. There are multiple levels of interviews and rounds. But yeah, at last it's a competition. But once you win it, you get the fruits of it. So yeah, I guess that's it from my side, probably.
Yeah, so basically the thing is, thanks for that your experience. So actually, I think the support from Startup India is always, it isn't a fruitful for us, and it isn't a great from the beginning. Also, we have been into the winner of 2020, so it's been 2 years already completed. So in this 2023 also, we are still getting the Startup India support, and especially the award that impacted a lot, because while we are on the 2020, so we were like implemented our robots in just 6 to 7 states only, but today we are into the 18 states. So in these 2 3 years time, so that much advancement that we could have able to do. And obviously the tag national startup award winner or the certificate which really matters, because especially if it is like in a B2G kind of a sector or business, so the government entities who values a lot about this credibility, because we have the other awards like Amrut Award, Swachhata Award. So all these government awards or the recognitions which will add more value, especially on the area of the giving the accreditation or giving more trust for the clients, especially coming to B2B or B2G sector. That is one point which I would like to mention. And other than this, if I say on the investment part also, because once we started our image as a national award winner, so definitely the support or the people who's come forward for the investment also will start rising. And just after the award winning, so we got the investor Mr. Anand Mahindra also. That is like a big credibility, and especially like a big asset to that, to add on our cap table. And likewise, last year we could have able to complete the series A round with the Zoho with Mr. Sridhar Babu. So he's also like a entrepreneur with a visionary thing about impacting millions of lives and supporting our India and creating a lot of make in India companies like that. So this all things are getting added more and more. And apart from all this, so this last year we this year we also got an opportunity to present our robot throughout the world in the World Economic Forum at Switzerland, that we got the opportunity from the Startup India. So where we have shown our robot to across the world that we are using the robots for the cleaning the sewage, not any other like machines or not the humans, which where we got a lot of over that Switzerland government also shown their interest how advanced that our nation is doing in the progress of our country. So these are the few things which I would like to add on the benefits or the advantage that are receiving from the Startup India. And obviously once we get into this title, definitely the support from Startup India is like an infinite, and that relationship will be there every time. So I think this is a best opportunity for all the startups, so especially from different segments. So whichever that related to that segment, which will give more value to their startup, likewise it will be very worth for their journey across building their empire.
Thank you so much, Rashid and Jayesh, for so greatly amplifying the efforts that the Startup India team has been taking every day, just to ensure that the startups are in the country are able to reach new heights. And with this, I think we can now wrap up the session. And I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers that we had for the day. And it was a pleasure having you, and your insights have been really informative and inspiring for the startups who joined us today. And I'm sure that all budding entrepreneurs would be urged to apply for the National Startup Awards. Um, and there's a link that is flashing on the screen for the perusal of all the startups who want to apply for the awards. Thank you so much once again, Jayesh and Rashid.
Thank you so
It has
much.
been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you so much.